What is up, everybody? We are talking about delinquency rates in Phoenix, Arizona, the housing market, and not just the housing market, but what are the delinquency rates for other creditors that people need to pay back, like car loans, credit cards, and of course, residential mortgages. This all plays a picture into what we can probably expect in the housing market over the next several weeks, several months leading through the summer. Guys, thank you for joining us on our YouTube Live. We're going to do some hard-hitting stuff. I got some cool graphs I've never shown before to show you today of real data in the economy with what's happening with consumers across America. And then, of course, localized here in Phoenix, because we are Everything Phoenix. We are the local real estate show of your choice that you need to follow if you want the facts. Now, I know I get a lot of comments. I get the comments, the haters, and I see other people who comment on the facts, because there are some good people running some good YouTube channels out there locally for Phoenix. But the haters are going to talk about how the market's crashing is going to come down. And you should wait because homes will be 30, 40, 50% cheaper than they are today if you just wait a little bit longer. And I'm here to tell you today that's not going to happen. So yeah, comment below. Let's go. Comment below. Let me know if you're watching the replay how much you disagree with that, because you probably will. Or live. If you're watching from somewhere and you disagree with that, put it on the screen. I'm not going to yell at you. I'm going to have a spirited debate or maybe a conversation with you, or maybe you agree with me and we can still have a spirited conversation either way. Where are you watching us from today, guys? I'd love to know where you're tuning in from across America, spread over 4 to 5 actually different time zones. We have people looking and watching us even overseas as well. So thank you so much for joining us. I'm going to share my screen. We're going to go hard hitting on this YouTube Live today. I'm excited. I had a week off last week with the family. Went down to Hilton Head, South Carolina. It's an amazing place to go. Very humid, guys. Let me tell you something. Sidebar, I really appreciate the lack of humidity in Phoenix, Arizona after being down in the South for a week. It is humid. It is hot. And I know it's an overstatement, like, duh, Kelly, what are you talking about? I understand. But I came back here, it was 88 degrees and it was like, 80% humidity. And it was pretty miserable, not going to lie, outside. And came back here and it was like 93 the first morning back in, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock in the morning. Got up to about 105 that day. And it felt actually kind of pleasant. Yes, 93 in the sun felt pleasant because there's no humidity in the desert, which is awesome. So I appreciate that. Thank you, Arizona. Thank you, Phoenix. Thank you, the desert climate, for the lack of your humidity. Now, on to the show. All right. So foreclosures, where do we stand? Well, let's get going right now, guys. But again, let us know where you're watching from if you don't mind. I really appreciate that. All right. So here we go. So I'm gonna jump on here and we're going to share my screen. Give me 2 seconds, guys. Boom. Got this teed up. And let me jump in here, guys. We're going to talk about the foreclosures and what's happening. Here's a little snippet right here, but I'll give you the bigger version. We'll go ahead right there and put it bigger on the screen. But what the Crawford market says about foreclosures is that it makes sense to keep eyes on foreclosures now. Whereas before, guys, what has the Crawford market said? They have said foreclosures are being overblown. These people are clickbait. They're talking about a bunch of nonsense. Now, the Crawford report saying, okay, the uptick in the trustee sale rate and delinquencies that are being filed have increased. To the point enough to talk about it and say, maybe it's time to at least watch it and pay a little bit of attention. Okay. Delinquency remains fairly low on mortgage debt, residential mortgages. Okay. Even though credit card and car loans are seeing much higher rates of default. Interesting. We'll cover that in a second. There were 389 new notice of trustee sales issued for residential properties in Maricopa County during May. Still a small number by long-term standards, but it's up from 315 last year. That's a lot, okay? There were 73 trustee deeds for residential properties in Maricopa County. This is the highest count since before COVID-19 pandemic got going in early 2020. There's almost double the count from May of last year. So it's something to pay attention. Now, here's what they wrap it up and say, which I think is a good commentary. It would appear that it is getting harder for a borrower to avoid foreclosure by selling their property and paying off the delinquent loan before the auction takes place. Why? Because the market hasn't moved in terms of pricing much over the past 3 years, 2.5, 3 years, okay? There's so much supply available that many homes in foreclosure are ending up going under the auctioneer's hammer. However, we should keep things in perspective, 73 auctions is a lot less than 4,000 or more we saw per month between '08 and 2011. Now, that is a great point because it's still in perspective. It's not what it was. Okay. It's not what it was. All right. Builder Bob, thank you for watching again. And I appreciate your comments. I'm going to put it on the screen here because you know what? Why not? I'm going to talk. I'm watching you. You're a very handsome guy. You don't mind me saying, how do you stay in shape? Guessing you have a great deal of that. Oh, man. I appreciate that. I'm blushing right now. Thank you very much, Builder Bob. Thank you very much for that. But yes, 4 days a week. Being consistent, like anything else, being consistent in work, being consistent in how you show up for your family, being consistent in how you show up for your clients, being consistent for your health. Yes, on a sidebar, that's what I do. And I recommend anyone to stay consistent as well. Even if it's only 30 minutes or 20 minutes a day, 4 days, 5 days a week, you're good. I'm watching McGlendale. I watch every week because my house has been on the market for 80 days. Oh no. And I need to sell it. Tara, I feel your pain. Your info has helped me understand why. Well, thank you. I appreciate that, Tara. And I'm assuming the agent you chose is doing a great job. I don't know, but I'd be happy to endorse them or not, or whatever, right? The case may be. But hopefully your house will sell. Stay with it. But I'm going to share some information next that might be interesting. And if somebody offers you something like this, maybe at least consider it, especially if you do, in fact, have to sell. Okay. And that information is as such. I'm going to share my screen. Here we go. Some buyers are now flexing their negotiation muscles by asking for remodeling instead of repairs. In most cases, they do not show up in concessions because the cost of remodel are included in the agreed sales price. So you don't see this, but it's happening. Here are some of the things that buyers are asking for now when they're making an offer on your house. The interior to be completely repainted, on average $5,000 to $7,000 based on square footage, of course. All windows to be replaced because they are old single pane windows, maybe just old in general. All windows to be tinted, okay? Because maybe, the Phoenix, sun is a little bit hot in summertime. New roof, even when the current older roof isn't leaking. Yes, this is a thing. It's not broken. Don't fix it. But in this case, you have leverage. So yeah, go ahead and fix it, Mr. Seller, because I just want it to be that way and I have the leverage. This is what buyers are doing. New AC when the current one is also working, even though it's old. Bathroom to be remodeled. Closet to be reframed because it is not perfectly rectangular. If you only have one interested buyer and are highly motivated to sell, this is a commentary from the Crawford Report. Here we go, Tara. This is right up your alley, right? It can be hard to resist agreeing to such ridiculous or whatever request you want to call that adjective to be. If the cost is to be added to the sell price, then you could argue that it costs the seller nothing as long as the deal goes through because it still has to appraise if they're getting financing, okay? So that's what they go on to say right there. Appraisals still matter. So what are your thoughts on that? Comment below or let us know, like, is this crazy or what? But if you're a buyer, what does this say for you, right? Okay, John Doe, actually, that's a great name. A regression to mean on home sales prices is actually taking place in Phoenix. And John, you are correct, sir, because where we were in 2021, the run up from 21 to the middle of 22 is now starting to regress back to it was. Matter of fact, we lost about 14% of the run up we had over the 18 to 2 years, 24 months, starting in 2020. We lost 14% of that alone in the second half of 2022. But what happened in 23? Prices started to go back up. In 24, a little bit as well. Now we're starting to get some of that cut back, a regression to the mean. Well said, John Doe. Thank you for piping in and saying that. And I have some data to prove that you are correct. But before we do that, let's look at the foreclosure data as to what the Crawford Report says. And then I'm going to pull some national economic data on this and delinquencies. Where do people stand with their credit card debt? Where do they stand with their car loan? And that being in delinquent status, okay? We're going to pull that here in just 2 seconds. Stay with me, okay? Don't turn that bat dial because now we have the notice of trustee sales locally here for Phoenix. Check it out, guys. It's not anything crazy. Look how low it was in 2020, 2019, 2021. And it's still pretty low, but it's starting to go up a little bit in Q1 and Q2 of 2025. You see that little bump right there. I also have one more graph to show you here. This one's a little color-coded, so it's maybe a little bit better, but trustee deeds per month, okay? Well, look at this. The increase in the blue are what is sold to a third party. The increase in the orange is what's reverted to the beneficiary, meaning the bank. Well, look at the big gold bar right there, okay? It is increasing, meaning that even at the foreclosure auction, the people who are showing up to buy these homes, they're professional wholesalers and people like that, which there are a lot of them in Phoenix. Trust me, there's still a lot of those in Phoenix, are not satisfied with the reserve the bank is holding out for in terms of the price. So even the banks, guys, even the banks who don't want to hold real estate are still living 3 months, 6 months in the past. And that's not good. It's going back to a foreclosure. Foreclosures will come out on the open market, guys. So I get a question a lot, sidebar. If you want to buy a foreclosure, there is no secret list. Now, could there be a one-off here and there? Sure, of course there could be. But generally speaking, there is no secret list. If you have a foreclosure and it's backed by Fannie Mae or Freddie Mac or even a private investor, SunTrust Financial, Bank of America, whatever it may be, these big institutions, they have an REO department, real estate owned foreclosure department, and they have agents like that are licensed like myself that they work with, and they will dispose of the asset on the open market. Why? Because they know on the open market they still get the best bang for their buck. So unless you're doing some big portfolio deal, you're probably not going to get some secret, handshake deal where you're getting, 40% off the price because no one else knows about it. That's not what's going to happen, okay? Just FYI. So if you're still looking for a foreclosure, you can buy it, but you can go through the process of going to Zillow or go to an agent and help you source that deal, okay? Just generally speaking. So it's good food for thought, in my opinion. All right, now let's go back here. Let's go over some delinquency data as reported by Fed, the Federal Reserve Bank, okay, and all their data. So here we go. You ready for some graphs? This is going to be good. Delinquency rate on credit cards, loans, okay, all commercial banks. So this is, Chase. This is, all these banks that issue credit cards through MasterCard, Visa, whatever it may be. Look at this. From 2000 and the end of 22, okay, why there was a downturn in delinquencies in 21, I have no idea. I'm assuming because of COVID. Some people were hard hit, obviously, right? And they probably asked for, forbearances. That's probably why you had this. But then as COVID kind of came out of COVID in 22 and the market was still on fire with housing, well, look what happened, guys. It all went up, right? They got better. Well, now recently, here we go. Q3 of 24 through now, credit card delinquency rates are starting to flatten out. Okay. And now we're starting to see that probably start to go up a little bit as this changes. So I think you see, look at it, you saw a ton here. It skyrocketed in 2008, 2009, but people started to have delinquency rates here. It went down and then boom, came back up and then now it's flattened off, but that probably will change. But you're not seeing a big delinquency bubble of people not paying their credit cards yet. Okay. These are just the facts from the Federal Reserve. Here we go. Delinquency rate of all loans. Okay. It's increasing. It's been increasing since 2000, really in 23. Okay. It's been increasing. And why? That matches up perfectly with the Crawford report and these graphs here. Look at that. That's going up too. So the mortgage debt being delinquent is also matching up really well with what the Federal Reserve is reporting for all consumer loans. Now, let's go to the next thing. Credit cards and other revolving plans. You can see this going yowzers. Oh boy, this one's going up. This will tell you that short-term debt is not being paid back at a very high tick. There is more delinquency rates happening, okay, and loans on those revolving plans. Okay, next one. Let's go to, this is good here. Okay, this is the three measures of U.S. credit card debt by the Federal Reserve. Okay, is it troublesome? Here you go. That credit card debt has topped $1 trillion. Is it? Okay, so here you go. You got the blue line, which represents credit cards and other revolving plans. You have the red line, which is consumer loans, credit cards, and other revolving plans, all commercial banks. And of course, you have the green line, which is a little bit different, which are all items in U.S. city average. And then, of course, credit cards and other revolving blah, blah, blah. So you can see in all three circumstances, guys, it's going up. The red's flattening off a little bit, right? Which is, good, I guess. Green's a little flat, but blue's starting to increase, okay? So you have that all going in kind of the wrong direction to an extent, but it's not crazy yet. Okay? But you know where it's going. This is not really a shock. Here's a bunch of different graphs you can get. This is interesting. Your personal savings rate. I'm going to pull this because I'm going to show everybody where we stand on savings in America. Well, right now, we had a lot of savings in 2020. Why? Because rates were so cheap. And then as rates kind of started to go down here in 2022, buying power got less, people got squeezed a little more, and savings went down. Then they increased coming out of it, realizing that, hey, inflation's coming down now. and goods are not as expensive across the board. All goods, but some are very expensive still. But the savings rate obviously increased there. And now from 23 to now, with rates staying around 7%, but yet inflation's staying, fairly low in the 2s to 3s, we are having a savings rate that's a little bit better. But look how this is not good, guys. We have been down in 05 and 10, really bad here because we had the Great Recession. And then we were hovering above the 5% mark. But now we are back to around 5%, but we're not in great shape. Now, will this change? Will this change? I think it will if we get the uncertainty of tariffs somewhat settled. I think it will if we get rates to come down a little bit, not much, a little bit. Inflation is at 2.3% currently. If you look at the CPI, most recent index report, okay, that's not bad. We want 2% according to the Fed. Not bad though. Okay, so I think this is a picture setting up everyone to understand that right now the consumer debt delinquency rate is starting to increase and things are not looking overly good. Okay, now I got one more graph to show you, but look at David. Oh, David, hey, how you doing, bud? Thanks for hopping on here. I appreciate it. Correction for sure. How far will depend mostly on the unemployment rate. I totally agree. So let's look at one more thing. Now, I don't have a graph on that right now, but I'm going to share my screen and show you one more graph. I think it's pretty powerful. You have all this increase of debt. You have less buying power with rates being high. But look at what happened to unweighted median hourly wage growth. Okay. Overall, it's not going in the right direction, is it? No, it is not. So it is continuing to decrease, and it has been with obviously some positive, negative since 22. Okay, so that's not helping the situation with buying power for people being able to afford homes. Okay, that's the bottom line. People being able to afford homes. So where do we go from here? Well, here's an article by MoneyWise that says U.S. housing market now has 500K more sellers than buyers and is leading to a shift in the balance of power. Okay, that's not good, but we all kind of assume that. We all kind of know where the market's heading, but there's some things here. There are an estimated 1.9 million homes for sale across the country, but only about 1.5 million active home buyers. That leaves a gap of nearly 500,000, the largest on record, according to Redfin. So that's not good. The balance of power in the U.S. housing market has shifted towards buyers, but a lot of sellers have yet to see or accept writing on the wall. No doubt about it. And unfortunately, that trend's going to continue through the summer. Okay, U.S. home prices were still up 3.9% year over year in February, from February 2024, which is good. A slight dip in January's 4.1% gain, but a growing supply of homes and easing mortgage rates are cooling the market. Okay, so overall, the balance of shift is occurring, and will it go further? That's what we're talking about right now. A lot of people selling right now bought in 21 or 22 when home prices were near their height, and they are losing money. But if they can hold on to it, they will. And that's why you haven't seen the median home price really just completely crash, because it hasn't. The home price has turned down a percentage point or two, but overall, that's not bad given the state that we're currently in. Another article by the Phoenix Business Journal: the price cut picture is changing at home as home listings rise and buyers gain leverage. Okay, so what's this say? Well, that's interesting. Well, here the story highlights: buyers gain leverage as home listings increase nationwide. Growing inventory leads to more price cuts in housing markets. Mortgage payments and rates decrease compared to last year. Okay, so this is an interesting article, and it talks about different parts across America, but buyers' outlook improves nationally. That is true, but a lot of people don't want to admit it because they don't want to believe it's a good time to buy. But we just talked about many, many times that buyers have more of a stronghold on the negotiating power. Yeah, will your price come down? It should. It will, most likely. But you also have ways to dictate terms. Maybe your closing date being flexible. Maybe a remodeling job that the sellers will pay for a certain part of the house. You can kind of call your shots, or at least go down swinging in most markets across America. Okay, so that's the big part to understand. That's the part I wanted to get across for you. Now, before we pivot here, what are your thoughts? Comment below. If you don't mind subscribing, we love to get this channel out to more and more people if you don't mind. But I'm going to share my screen, and we're going to go back to talk a little development, okay? A little development here in Scottsdale and the Phoenix area. This will keep you informed as to what's going on. Axon, big company. withdraws from Scottsdale's headquarter negotiations amid political turmoil. So this article goes on to basically recap by saying that their headquarters, they are withdrawing that aspect, the $1.3 billion project, which would bring a ton of jobs to Scottsdale. But they still have the rights to build their headquarters, or at least a large portion of their business there, and they are going to move forward. They're just not going to move forward with the same plan, which included a bunch of condos and apartments, which Scottsdale's trying to suppress now because there, frankly, are probably too many of them. Okay. The population is just exploding in Scottsdale, but yet there's not much land. And so the apartment condo scene is going gangbusters, but yet there's still a good amount of vacancy right now because, again, the housing market's a little flat. Okay. Now, let's go to another article, which I thought was very interesting. The luxury residential complex to replace strip mall on the Phoenix-Scottsdale border. So this is another complex that did get approved by Scottsdale City Council for more condos. Here we go. And there's already more on the docket to be built over the next 2 years. 2 to 3 years right now, okay? But it's a 255-unit, 14-story multifamily complex at the southwest corner of Scottsdale and Bell. So if you look at the map, you can see right here, if I give you a visual, there's the city of Phoenix. And if you scroll in, Scottsdale's right to the east of Phoenix. And the dot is right by the Scottsdale Air Park, which we sit today. And that project is at Scottsdale Road, which is right here, the border, and Bell. So it's going to be right in this southwest corner of my cursor is, guys, where this project right here is going on. So another multifamily project happening in Scottsdale. It's a lot. All right. A couple more things here. And I think there's some good stuff here I'll share with you, okay? But this is interesting. A new normal is taking hold in home buying. One generation is bucking the trend. Which generation would that be? Because a lot of people polled right now, in fact, 63% of people polled right now say they are not going to buy a house anytime soon because of economic conditions. That may not be the right way to look at it, in my humble opinion, but I can't blame them. I can't blame them because you want to try to time it at the bottom. I get it. It's just hard to do. But yet 14% of people that are millennials said 14% overall said they will buy a house. Out of that, a large portion are millennials saying they will jump in to buy a house because it's that time of their life, right? 47% millennials said they had delayed purchasing a home for the same reason because of obviously high mortgage rates, while 18% of baby boomers and 25% of Gen X members said they are delayed in buying a home because of mortgage rates. So Gen Z and baby boomers, they probably have more money, but they also are more bullish in the fact that, you know what, if you hold real estate long enough, it's going to work out just fine for you. And we've seen rates that are pretty high in our lifetime, call it 7% before. And if you're a baby boomer, 17, 18% potentially. But millennials are jumping back in. It's just hard because right now, affordability is tough. But this is positive. This is good because at least one generation is saying, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to make that move and hold on the property, build a family, and hopefully hope for the best, right? Speaking of which, with all the bad news, a Paradise Valley mansion sells for $16.85 million. This sets record. This is in the Crown Canyon community, guys. This is a phenomenal community. It is super exclusive. It should be for that price, right? But there are only 10 lots, and it's in the canyon, one of the last canyons of land that is dedicated to be built on. So you have 10 lots, and there are about, I think, 6 to 7 lots still available up there. We've toured it. It is gorgeous. If you have any questions about Crown Canyon, let us know. But this is the property that was built. Matter of fact, the owner of this property is actually going to add some more things to it, and it's going to end up being a larger sales, if you will. It's just not going to be recorded because it's going to be after the fact. But Bedrock Development is developing Crown Canyon, and it is just a gorgeous, gorgeous place to buy and own a home if you can afford something between 16 and even up to as much as $30 million. So let us know on that. We know the agent really well there, developer really well, and we'd be happy to help you get in and learn more information about Crown Canyon if you're interested. Okay, a couple more articles here, guys. But I want to show that because it's positive, right? There's not a lot going on right now, but I know we can be kind of like, oh, the rich people. Okay, I get it, but there's still people that have a lot of money that are buying real estate here in the Scottsdale, Phoenix area, Paradise Valley. And so that is a good sign to keep the market moving, at least in some price ranges. Okay, I'm going to share my screen because we have a couple more things to go over here. Sexy Roman. No, I'm not talking about anyone personally here. Sexy Roman is a new restaurant at the Hotel in Scottsdale that's opening up June, I believe, June 2nd, just opened up. And it is going to be a beautiful restaurant, as you can imagine, in the W in Old Town Scottsdale. So if you have a chance to check out Sexy Roman, go check it out because it is a amazing restaurant. And check out the W, guys. Get a drink, go on the rooftop bar, hang out on a weekend night or weekday night, your choice. It's a great place to just chill and just people watch for sure. Okay. 2 more articles and we're done, guys. We're out of here. Starlux, nonstop flights to Asia. This is going to open up a world of possibilities. I just stole that from the Chronicle Report, as you can see. Okay. To Asia, nonstop. Never been done before out of Phoenix Sky Harbor Airport, but the Starlux Airlines is going to have a nonstop flight to Chinese Taipei, which is Taiwan, primarily because of the demand from TSMC and all the high-level employees that they're hiring and the workforce from their semiconductor plant. By the way, $165 billion investment in North Phoenix, if you haven't heard. Okay. So they're going to also add and look to add a few more flights nonstop to Asia in the near future. But this is a great, great start for the opening up the Orient, if you will, for the city of Phoenix, guys. Nonstop. It is pretty darn cool. And last but not least, we'll end on a little pickleball because why not? Who would not want to know about pickleball? Because pickleball rules in Phoenix, right? You're in the desert. You have a older population in many parts, retirees of Phoenix, and they love them some pickleball because you don't have to run around as much as tennis, right? And it's outside, so it's kind of like tennis, but it's not ping pong. So you get to go a little pickleball action, and it's cool. So Dink and Dine is opening up their first location in Mesa, and it's going to be pretty cool. They're going to have a new concept of a 13 top-tier pickleball court. Some will be inside, some will be outside, and it's going to be a place where you get some good food. And the cool thing about it is you don't have to be a country club membership. You can sell. I think they're doing people who can come by and just play by the hour, I believe, right? You don't have to be like a country club member or pickleball member of the facility. So it's a little bit different when it comes to the ability to get in and out and play a little pickleball. So that's coming to Phoenix. You already have a bunch of other pickleball places in Phoenix and restaurants that are concepts to go hang out and have a good time. A lot of them are indoor, which is great because summertime is a little hot. So you can go there middle part of the day when it's roasting outside in the summer, and you can have air-conditioned pickleball and get after it. So these places are kind of plenty-some. I mean, let's be honest, right? Which is great for people who want to get a little workout in and enjoy doing what they do with pickleball. So anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching our show. I would love for you to comment below. I would love for you to subscribe, like our channel if you don't mind. But let us know. Let's get the conversation going. I'll be sure to comment and reply with my 2 thoughts, even if you disagree with me. I appreciate the people who are commenting live here today, because if you're thinking it, someone else probably is too. So once again, thank you for joining us. And if you have any questions, reach out to us at 480-660-5974. We'll be back next Tuesday at 4 p.m. And we're going to have some good information because I already have a couple things in mind. We're going to be tracking the housing market. There's a couple of things we're going to talk about, but I hope you guys got some good information today with all of the delinquency rates and where we stand as an economy all together as United States citizens and Phoenicians here locally. And until next week, Phoenix, keep it classy. Thank you, guys.